guys, welcome back to another episode of Minutes with M&M. I'm Nissan and this is Mena, and today we'll be talking about How I Met Your Mother, one of our, I wouldn't say it's a favorite show, but it's a staple. It is like a solid sitcom.
It's like rice.
So we're gonna be ranking each of the main characters as friends and as people. So we're gonna start off with as people.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So just to refresh your memory, so the five main characters are Robin, Barney, Ted, Marshall, and Lilly. So we're gonna be ranking the five characters from the top to the bottom. And so I'm gonna start my ranking. My favorite character, or my top character as a person, is Marshall. I just feel like there isn't one thing I can point to that Marshall did that I was like, that's weird. And he always supported his friends. He was a really good partner to Lilly. And he's just an all-round like voice of reason to like the entire group. No, I feel like Marshall is the one that's like, no, don't do this crazy thing, Ted, or like Barney, that sucks. Like, so that's it.
That makes sense. Marshall is also number one for me. I do think he's the best person out of all of them. And unlike a lot of sitcoms, it's not even a case of best of the worst. I actually don't think he's a bad person at all. I think he's a good person. Plus, environmental lawyer. He took a job where he wasn't making that much money. And when he did get the option to make more money, he initially turned it down until, Lily's situation. She spends too much money, got involved. But anyway, I think he's a good person. He was nice throughout the show, and I can't think of a situation that was like super selfish. He's always putting himself second to people around him. So yeah, Marshall's number one.
Yeah.
Who do you have second place?
So, in second place, I have Robin. I know, surprising. Very surprising. I feel like Robin was introduced mainly as like Ted's love interest, and even if she didn't really have like a lot of main story points, I would say, like it's like just on her own, like apart from like with the group or like in relation to Ted or her love life. I feel like her as a person, the way she dealt with things that happened to her, like was just like she had a good head on her shoulders. She knew what she wanted, she knew what she didn't want. I feel like it's a different from like the Marshall situation. I feel like this is just the best out of the remaining three characters that we have. So yeah, Robin is the one at the top for me.
I will say that I feel like Robin did have a little bit of a discovery period romantically, I feel like she really didn't know what she wanted. I blame the writers. I feel like she knew she wanted Barney, but at the end, let's pretend like it's always been Ted. But she did go through a little fun phase of figuring out her life, which is
it's normal. Like she's human. Like she's not a perfect person, and like whatever situation she was presented with, even if it was complicated, she tried to deal with it in the most sensible way as she could. Like she just I feel like she was just someone who was trying her best and like trying to navigate the world as she sees fit. And I know this is like basic, like
you're like this is just a human being,
but like it's like Marshall, good person, Robin,
a person.
That's it really.
For me, the second person on my list is actually Ted. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this. I will say it was tough for me to pick between Ted and the person who's third on my list. I don't think Ted was a bad person. I think he wasn't great in romantic relationships, but removing that huge piece of his entire storyline throughout the show, I think he consistently tried to be a kind person, which is something that the remaining three characters, I don't think kindness was the thing that registered in Robin and Barney's heads. And I think Lily's kindness was questionable. So for me, Ted had a few moments in the show where I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, this was a good thing for you to do. He definitely had his small petty moments, but overall, I liked him, He didn't do anything incredibly good. And the few good things he did, e.g., inviting his fiance's ex to his wedding, did not really do well for him. But I think he tried, and I'm gonna give him points for trying.
Yeah, I guess Ted is third on my list. I'm just gonna get into it. I feel like he was a decent person. I struggled to pick between Robin and Ted for who should go second and who should go third. But I feel like Ted, because he was the main character, obviously we saw a lot more into his life, so we're able to judge a lot more of his decisions. So just keep that in mind. But Ted had a lot of situations kind of go left and just kind of left it there without really registering. Like I feel like one of my pet peeves in movies and TV shows is when like someone is actively hurting someone, and for the longest time they're so engrossed in themselves that they can't see that they're hurting the other person they're with, or like the people around them. And I feel like Ted, some of his storylines with like his romantic partners like was like that, and then it gets to a point where he finally realizes that, oh my god, like wow, this thing I'm doing is bad, and like I need to stop. But then you keep repeating similar patterns. Like, so what, like, yeah, I think that's it for me, because I feel like maybe Robin was a lot more straightforward, but she wasn't kind. And I think maybe because Ted was like trying to be kind, he kind of let things go on too long, but that ultimately still hurt people. So yeah, for me, Ted is number 3. Like, he is a good person. He tries his best. Like, I don't want to go into Friends, but he is a good person.
No, I get that. I think it's just, he made big sacrifices on the show that I don't think a lot of them did. Like, the only thing that comes to mind right now for me, I just remembered, was him when he gets back with Victoria and they let her ex-boyfriend live with them, and it's horrible. And he's just like, okay, we have to do this. Like, obviously, why are you making yourself suffer? But wanting to try and do the right thing, even though, kick this man out of your house, please. Just kick him out. But in third place for me was actually Lilly, who I don't necessarily think she's a great person, but she had strong, kind moments. Not even kind, no, that's not the word. Good moments. Whether she meant for them to be good, who will say? She was soft and nice. She worked with children. As I say this, the more I speak, the more I wonder if I should have put her here.
Yeah. It's not really.
Okay, but you know what it is? It's that the remaining 3 people, I don't think any of them were really good. So I think I was just trying to do less good.
Yeah, we don't have much to work with here. And I feel like Lilly, a lot of her shining points is that she was with Marshall.
Yeah.
To be honest, like if she was on her own or like with someone else, I feel like we would have seen her awful behavior a lot more clearly. But Marshall made her cute. Marshall created these cute moments with her and this cute like couple thing that they did. And so now everyone's like, oh my god, Lily's so sweet. But like,
you know what? I'm gonna have to move her down to 4. Like, no, you're right. Like, I take that back, guys. Sorry, I know I said she was 3rd, but she's actually 4th. I'm blanking on good things that she did that weren't either like Lilly. I just called you Lilly. That Miss Ann, like Miss Ann said, that weren't with Marshall or weren't her making up for already doing something bad. I feel like she does a lot of good things after she's already done a bad thing. So she'll do something wrong and then she'll feel guilty and she'll do a nice thing, but it's like, maybe don't do the mean thing in the first place. So I know we're going back and forth, but since I just said my 4th person, can I say my 3rd?
Yep.
So now in 3rd place is Robin. And she's just neutral for me. I don't think she's horrible. I think she's kind of selfish and puts herself first in a lot of situations that she really didn't have to. But she wasn't, the way she treated Patrice wasn't great. But Patrice wasn't even annoying.
Wasn't she?
She can't control her voice.
No, but like, we don't have to be friends.
But she wasn't really trying to be friends. She was just a nice person. Like, I brought you cookies because I'm a nice person.
I don't know. Bullying is bad, but
oh no, actually no, I changed my mind. I'm actually gonna put Lilly back at 3rd because you know what? They're both 4th. They're just, neither of them is 3rd. They both go down to 4th. That's it. I can't say either of them are good. So they're both 4th. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my 5th person, obviously now, is Barney.
Did you talk about your 4th person?
Yeah, I talked about Lilly. No.
No, you talked about Ted, and then I accidentally swapped my 3rd and 4th. So you actually get to do your 4th.
Oh, okay. Well, Lily's my 4th because she's not as bad as Barney.
Great reasoning. I love it.
As a person, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's not a great position to be. So I can't say, oh, these are all the good things, that's why she's fourth. Like, you are like the second to the worst person on the show. And if you guys think that we're being dramatic, I feel like maybe you should go and rewatch the show and like with better eyes and like just separate Marsha. Like, look at her as a person and look at all the decisions that she makes. Like leaving your fiance to go and study art in San Francisco and then failing woefully and then coming back. No, that was embarrassing for like all parties involved, like including Marshall. Like, and Marshall took her back, and it was supposed to be like, oh, I'm feeling sad now. Like, they had to hunt her down. Like, she was in an apartment. He was looking through credit card statements, and I just feel like you don't even have the talent for it. And like, she left her fiance. Like, you didn't even tell him. It was just selfish. I don't know if I can come back from that. Like, that just says a lot about her character. It's like you had all these years to realize these dreams, and now you're like, oh, I just want to see if I'm any good. Bro, your paintings look like a kid painting, like a child's painting. Like, I just don't understand how. Like, the instructor was like, wow, you're so bad. I can't see. Oh my god. And then Marshall, being the good person as he is, he was just there pining after her, trying to track her down. He still took her back, and they still got married. Like, honestly, he has a heart of gold, because if my partner did that to me and just like severed all conversation, all communication with me, like, what are you trying? Like, it's one thing to go and try and find your dreams, but like, this is something we should be doing together since we are now engaged and we are a unit, right? We should discuss this. Maybe I can get a job there, or like, you
girl,
can
maybe
still, like,
we're long distance.
Yeah, like, you didn't have to do all of that. To me, it just felt like she was taking Marshall for granted, and she felt like she could just leave him and come back, and
she was right.
And she was right. So yeah, that's why she's my number 4. Maybe just, even if it's just that one thing that she did. I know she did like some other like.
No, you're right. She's number 4. I'm going through it in my head, and she's actually number 4. She has a lot of really not telling him about her credit card debts, you know, getting them into the house, and then, you know, like kind of going like, yeah, let's move here. And obviously she didn't know it was gonna like smell really bad, but still. But I guess the reason I didn't put her low automatically is like, a lot of her negative stuff is directly in relation to her relationship and her friends. But I'm struggling
That's a huge chunk of her life.
Yeah, she doesn't really get a lot of interactions with people outside of the core group.
Yeah. So yep, she's number 4 for me.
And then number 5,
Barney. That's both our number 5.
Yeah, he's a criminal.
He treats women really badly, and it's just glossed over in the show. Like, ha, he's funny, but where they're like, oh, Barney, that sucks. But you've caused someone trauma. Like,
oh no, he abandoned a woman in the forest. He lies about name. A lot of things he did low-key classify as sexual assault, but you know, I don't want to get into it. I know he's funny, and I love Neil Patrick Harris. God, I love you so much if you're watching this. But that being said, no, Barney's, the good that he does cannot, like, as a person, if we're just like, you know, heaven, hell, the things you've done, he's going to hell. Like, just based off his treatment of women, which is just, if you could take that away, he's actually not that awful. He makes, you know, misogynistic jokes, but man, but the actual like harm he has caused women, like the episode where he's running around trying to figure out who made a website about him, and he's listing the worst things that he's done to women, and they do March Madness. That episode alone is like, go to prison.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like a lot of sitcoms need to have that one character that's like a whole like caricature of something. But this is what you chose, and you chose to stick with it. Like, they gave him some growth when he was with like Robin, or he started having feelings for Robin. But like, what message are you trying to pass here? Like that, like a lot of men are just gonna keep like hurting women until they fall in love. Like,
there was no message. It was 2005. They were like, Neil Patrick Harris is funny. Go with it. But yeah, he's the bottom of both of our lists. And to be clear, we both like him a lot. He's just a bad person for these things. But hey, you know, as people, we're critical. As friends, we give them a little bit more grace. So let's talk about our ranking of them, from being best friends to, is this the person you want on your emergency list in case something bad happens to you? So why don't you go first?
Yes. So as friends, I put Marshall as number one as well. I kind of struggled with where to put like Marshall versus Barney as friends, but maybe it's just like recency bias or like whatever. Like I think I saw a lot more, or I can remember a lot more of like Marshall being a good friend to Lilly, his wife, or to Ted, his roommate, or to Robin, or just to everyone, because he's a good person, honestly. So I just put him there. Like I can't really point out things, but I can't really remember as of right now. But like, yeah, as of right now, like I think Marshall is just my number one friend.
So Barney is my number one friend. So to me, out of all of them, I don't think anyone in that friend group loved their friends as much as Barney did. I think if I wanted someone to be my best friend out of all of them, he's so obnoxious. But like if someone would run into a building to save their friend, I feel like it would be Barney. And I say that because, when Ted got hurt in the hospital and he was running because he thought something bad happened to him, he ran all the way to the hospital, got hit by a bus, and he was still worried about their friendship. So that was cute. Also, he's the one who goes to San Francisco and gives Lilly the ticket and begs her to come back because Marshall is so sad. And I guess that was really good of him as well. But I think the thing that stands out to me the most was him convincing Marshall to pretend that Ted had a job. And I think it was a really nice, like, I want you to feel like you have a place here and you're not useless, especially because Ted had a lot of anxiety about being an architect. It was not working out for him. So I really like that. And I think the main thing to me is that he did almost all his good acts of friendships in secret. It wasn't like he would go around and tell them, be like, oh, I did this good thing. You have to like me. I'm a good friend. Cough, 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 Lilly. He loved his friends and he wanted to help them out where he could. So that puts him like right at the top of the list for me.
Yeah, he's my number two. Barney's my number two. I agree with all her points. Like he's someone who would do anything for his friends. And to be honest, I was very sympathetic to him. I feel like they wouldn't do the same for him, and they took him for granted as a friend. But he did a lot. Like he helped out with money, or he helped out with like any problems that they had. He showed up. They could always call him and depend on him. Or you need a place to stay at my big apartment, like my fancy TV. Like I feel like he didn't have to do all that. Like he was an interesting enough person to make other friends. Like these are lame oaks.
Yeah, he could have been friends with other people.
Yeah.
Like cool people.
Cool people. Like no one wanted to play laser tag with him. Even after he asked like 10 times. So I don't know. I just feel like as a friend, Barney's like up there, number two. Like
I agree. I will say I do appreciate that in the final season they have an episode where they try to figure out the hangover cure, and then they realize, oh, it was just the love of Barney the whole time. It's ridiculous. But I did like them going, you know what? Barney's a good friend and we love him. I feel like there weren't enough of those moments.
It's a little too late though in this season.
Although, he did have some shitty moments, so I'm gonna let it slide, but I appreciate that as a big fan of him.
Yeah.
My number two is Ted. I think that's because he's the main character. I'm not gonna lie. He was a linchpin for the entire group at multiple points in the show. So to me, it felt like he really valued those friendships. He also didn't have anything else going on in his life a lot of the time. So yeah. But yeah, he was a good friend. And I always think the Christmas tree thing he does for Robin is cute, but I don't know if it counts as a good friend thing because he kind of had feelings for her. So
what Christmas tree?
Oh, when she found out that she couldn't have kids and she was really sad, even though she didn't want to have kids. So Ted makes Christmas for her to make her smile. It was a little bit of, I'm in love with you.
Yeah, that wasn't a friend thing.
But I feel like he would have done it for Marshall. Oh, they actually have this exact conversation later on when Marshall's like, you did that because you love her. And he was like, I do it for you. And Marshall's like, yeah, you do it for me. So,
I don't remember, so
I'm dead.
I'm going to go with what you say.
I'm dead. Also, I feel like he did a really good job of being a good friend for Marshall, especially when Lilly was garbage.
Yeah.
He was very supportive. And, when Marshall wasn't wearing pants and going out, Ted was like, we can work through this. If you stop wearing pants and leaving the house, I don't know that we can make it work.
Wow, this friendship is fake then. Like, wow. That's all I'm saying. So, Ted is my number three. All her points stand. He was a really, really good friend to everyone. And sometimes he actually puts them in front of himself ahead of his own needs. I remember there was a scene where Lilly was going to take the assessment for the art school or something, and her car breaks down, so she calls Ted, knowing that he had a big date with the one person he matched with that was 100% ticks all his boxes, and he had to come get her, and then she made him swear to not tell Marshall, his best friend, about her art school, and then she ends up leaving him. I feel like Ted actually keeping that secret and like leaving his date.
You're right.
Like,
because I would call more like, Marshall, guess what just happened? I'm gonna rat on you because what is that?
Exactly. That's one of the major moments I feel like Ted was a good friend. That's the big one that stood out to me. But like throughout the show, like Mena said, like he was really an anchor to everyone, and like he was a main character. So we get to see a lot of his perspective. So I guess maybe that's why. But I mean, it's slim pickings. It's slim pickings. So
in third place for me is actually Marshall. I think he was a good friend. I don't think he had any flaws in the area of friendship. In fact, similar to what you said about him being the straight man, you know, in the group, he had a lot of reasonable moments where he was like, no, we shouldn't do this. I just think that there were moments where Ted and Barney were more effusive with their love and friendship that it by default pushes him down. But I think he was a really good friend as well. He was a good person, and that bleeds into other aspects of his life, so I'm giving him that. I also just want to point out that both of our top threes are the boys, and I think this show put in more effort to like show the friendship of the boys in comparison to like Lily and Robin being friends. Like, I know they're best friends, but I kind of feel like Lily was closer to Ted for most of the show. But like Robin's her best friend. I don't know. I feel like the girls.
Is Robin her best friend?
Yeah, they had multiple situations of you're my best friend. It didn't feel as strong as the guys' relationship.
I don't like when things happen in shows where you want to create a group of people and then all of a sudden someone just leaves her entire life or their entire life and comes to join this group and like expect, like, you guys are now so close, like, and you've not shown us anything to really see how that friendship progresses. Like, you can't just, like, my friend can't just meet someone and then because we hang out like 5 times, all of a sudden I'm like, you're my best friend. Like, it has to come from somewhere, because I feel like Robin had a whole other life. The first time Ted met Robin, she was with friends.
Where did they go?
She was with a group of girls, you know, and all of a sudden now, like, all she hangs out with is like Ted and Barney and Marshall. Like,
that's actually a TV show trope that I hate so much, and it happens a lot in like sitcoms and dramas. Someone meets someone and then they're like their entire world.
Yeah.
Where are your friends? Where are your family? Or conversely, people are just always together and they're super insular. Like in This Is Us, who are Randall's friends? Does he spend all his time with his white siblings who live across the country? Makes no sense. Sorry, that was a random This Is Us segue. But yeah, I completely agree with you. Where are Robin's other friends? Anyway, we were just saying, yeah, the guys had a stronger friendship in general, and maybe that kind of biases us or gives us a bias where we put them at the top of our list. But yeah, Robin, she was a okay friend.
Yeah, Robin, that's my number 4. And, you know, like before, like when I was discussing the people's list, there isn't much you can say about someone like who comes before the last person. Like, it's like you weren't the worst. That's all I'll say. She didn't do anything horrible. So Robin is number 4. Kudos to her.
Kudos. Robin for me is number 4 as well for a similar reason, but actually the opposite. No, the same. Basically, she didn't do anything horrible as a friend. She did some not great stuff, but nothing like I'm like, oh, this is a bad friend. I think her closest relationship outside of Ted, who she was in a romantic thing with, which was kind of weird, was Barney, who she also then got in a romantic thing with. But she managed to keep it okay, even though both of her ex-boyfriends were in her best friend group choices.
Yeah. I mean, like, there isn't a big standout friendship moment I can point to with Robin. It's just, all right, like, you're just being a decent person. So
yeah, I can think of the friends kind of having big moments for her. Like, I can think of individual characters kind of doing nice things for her, which is nice. I can't think of her doing anything, and maybe it's because it's been a while since I rewatched. But she wasn't a bad friend. She was, you know, when they did group things, she was there and supportive. So yay. She was funny.
But didn't she travel all the way from Japan to come for Ted's wedding? Or?
I mean, yeah, but 1, she was kind of in love with him, and 2, is that a big thing?
That's a big flight ticket. That's an expensive flight ticket to just...
I mean, was she happy in Japan?
No.
I mean, yeah, she loved her. I don't know why this is so hard. I don't actually think she was a bad friend.
Yeah,
I just think she was okay. Like she's, if you're bored on a Friday, you can hang with Robin.
Yeah.
But I just remembered the episode, it's in later seasons, where she babysits Marshall and Lily's kid, and something happens. So like every 5 years, she tells Lily a little bit more of what happened.
That was funny.
That was funny. Like I think Robin was a funny character. She had a lot of funny storylines. So yeah, I put her above number 5. Why don't we talk about number 5?
Number 5 as friends, Lilly.
So every number of our list is different from 1 to 4, except for number 5. We both are like, yeah, Lily is the worst friend in the group. And it's by a landslide. It's not a little, we're picking at her. She's not a good friend to that.
First of all, let's start with the fact that they joke about this on the show all the time, but they're just like, haha, Lily can't keep a secret, blah, blah, blah. She's like, that's true, I can't keep a secret. But still, tell me.
Why?
Why? Are you just going to... She's a gossip. She's a gossip. Like, that's what she is. And, like, in the worst of ways. Like, just unnecessary information. I know, like, the story had to move forward. But, I mean, unfortunately, that's the storyline they gave her. So, I don't like that. Like, I don't want to have a friend that I feel like I can't confide in. So...
I mean, I can only think of right now, like, one secret that she kept that wasn't hers. I know later when she's pregnant, they're like, I kept a secret so good. Girl, you kept your own secret, relax. Was when she knew that Barney had a crush on Robin and she was trying to help him be a better person. But I think she just liked it because it was entertaining, and I don't even blame her. It was funny.
Very bored.
Yeah, no, Lily was not a good friend, and she's the one friend that I can think of multiple occasions. Is it her coming back from San Fran and getting mad at Ted for calling her a Grinch, a bitch, when he was talking to Marshall, because she literally left him, and like he has to apologize to her because her feelings are hurt, and she moves the event to her little crappy apartment. But it's like, it's wild that she felt like he couldn't say that, even though it was accurate, and she punishes everyone. That's the thing. She also punishes people. Like
she whines a lot.
She just feels like she has all this authority. Like the whole thing with Ted's boss, where she stole something from him to teach him a lesson. These are grown adults. She just feels like she has the right to manipulate, messing with Ted's relationships when she felt like they weren't good fits. Selfish, bad friends. When she wanted to get pregnant, and she basically just treated Robin as an accessory friend. Like, and then it takes her meeting Robin's other ex-best friend for her to like realize, I don't know, she just...
That was a sucky thing to do as a friend. Like, and Robin's biggest fear at that moment was just like being isolated because your best friend is going through a different stage in her life, and like all Lily could think about or talk about is baby.
And she wasn't even pregnant yet.
So I mean, it's not even like Robin was like, Robin was a little bit irritated, but she never said anything about it. All of a sudden, Lily just started to treat her weirdly, and for what reason? It just gives like suburban, like mean, desperate housewives vibes for no reason.
It was weird and unkind and unnecessary. And I guess I'm glad they worked through it. But if you treat your best friend like this, like she just had moments of not greatness with all of them that stand out to me. Honestly, they all love each other. They all chose each other. You could argue that Robin sucks for showing up to Ted's wedding in the future and being jealous of him getting married to someone else after she turned him down 20 years ago. Who knows? But they're all not, except for Lily, not that horrible when it comes to friendship.
Oh my God, can we talk about Lily and her credit card debt that she hid from Marshall for years? And what is not, like, it's just not connecting, because she's like, oh, I used all this money to buy like fancy clothes and shoes. Where? Bitch, where? Like, Lily dresses like, oh God, like one of these, I don't know, old, like, I don't know how to put it, but like, if there's anyone that should be wearing designer, it should be Robin. Like, Robin actually dresses, maybe you can say like they dressed her up a little bit because of her job, she's an anchor or whatever, but like, I didn't see it. Like, Lily wasn't someone that was like, oh, fashionista, that's the latest bag. I'm just like, you have literally embezzled this money for yourself. I lied to your husband about how it's fashion. Like, there's no proof.
No, but you're right. Like, outside of the joke of her not dressing well, it was a horrible thing to do, and it literally derailed Marshall's life. Like, he takes a job that he hates so he can earn money because he doesn't know prior to that situation how bad the money situation is with her.
Like, and then she kept it from him all the way to the point where they were in front of the banker or whatever, I can't remember, and they're like, sorry, we can't approve this. Why would you do that to your partner?
I'm like, Marshall apologizes. He's like, oh, it must be my law school debt. And it's like, it's frustrating.
Like, he came down from the car. He walked all the way. At no point did you say, maybe there's something I need to tell you. Maybe our credit score. Nothing. I just feel
No, but you know what the actual worst part is? When it was time for her to sell stuff to make money, she was throwing an attitude about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, you can't wear all these clothes. Second of all, they're ugly clothes. But third of all, you literally need the money.
You are the reason why we are in this situation. Why do I, as in Marsha, why do I have to make changes? Why can't you leave your teacher job and try and maybe take another job as a bartender at night or something? Like, you need to, like,
Do you know what I just remembered?
What?
She said, I'm going to sell my art. They already sent you away from San Francisco. Your art is bad. And then there's the whole thing about her feeling bad because they bought the frame and not the picture. And everyone has to tell her, oh no, Lily, you're talented. It's okay. You're bad at art. It's okay. It's okay. You can't draw. You can't paint. You can't sketch.
Find another passion.
Girl, like the fact that everyone is here coddling you, we need money. Like, we don't have time for this.
Marshall is actually a saint. To be like, 'cause I don't understand what he saw in her. Like, I know they did like a flashback to the way they met, but I feel like it was just familiarity. Like, this is someone that she's the first girl I saw in college, and now I'm in love with her for the rest of my life because, like,
she was just manipulative. And not to say, like, I think their relationship had a lot of really cute moments that I enjoy. It just feels like he was the one who made a lot of concessions and she got away with a lot of sneaky stuff. Like, even their meet cute where she shows up at the door, you know, then she tells, actually, I went to all the doors knocking till I found you, which is cute. But like,
it's like,
why did you just tell the truth? Why did you lie about it? I don't know. It's fine. I like them. They're great. They're funny. They love each other. But there are definitely moments in the show where you're kind of like, Marshall puts this woman before he puts her. And it's not always funny.
yeah.
I really hate the final season storyline that they go to Italy for her dreams, even though he gets the judgeship. And they fix it by saying, oh, in the future he becomes a judge. But it's like, why does he have to take this giant career step? And it's like, oh, she's pregnant, so he picks the family. Why can't she pick the family? Why does he get what? I don't know. It's fine. This is really just a Lilly bashing session because I think she's the most very clearly selfish of all of them. And like, that's saying a lot because Barney's quite selfish. But then Barney also does stuff like his job was secretly, you know, dealing with the embezzlement of his company and taking them down for fraud or whatever. Like, surprise, he actually did a good thing in the end. Does it make up for all his stuff? No. But he has these like big things that he did unprompted, not because he felt guilty, but because it was the right thing to do. And Lilly doesn't have, at this moment, any for me to think about.
Yeah, I can't recall.
I will say I love the idea of Marshall being at the top of both of our lists because he's the only one who comes from a well-adjusted family. Like, he has a mom and a dad who love him. He has siblings he fights with, but he came from a home filled with love.
Yeah.
Those other 4 children, Lord in heaven. Like, Barney, you know what? Barney wasn't even that bad. Like, yeah, his dad abandoned him.
I didn't know.
But
it wasn't funny, but the mom, I'm sorry, how do you trick your kids like that?
Like, his mom was friendly with men, but I don't think that made her a bad mom. She loved her kids and both of them ended up successful. I mean, comparatively, I would say Ted and Barney have a similar upbringing of it's not that bad. Like, yeah, Ted's parents got divorced, but they loved him still.
Yeah.
Lilly was raised by that. Like,
Oh, but Robin.
you know what? At least Robin's family had money. Like, Robin's dad was sucky and he wanted a son, but he did show her some level of affection every now and then when she was a boy in the right way. And she loved her mom. So, you know, she did have that. Lily, like, her dad was just awful. He was flaky and icky, and he continued that into adulthood. And, you know, maybe that
plays a role.
That plays a role in you being a manipulative person. You have a parent you can't count on and you need to make things happen. So we're gonna give Lilly some grace and say it's her upbringing that made her like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are our thoughts on best to worst people and friends. What do you guys think? Do you think we were too harsh on Lily? Do you think we were too generous to Marshall? Who do you enjoy and who do you think, this person might need to become a better person?
Yeah, so let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.